Good people are not always hurt because others are cruel. Sometimes they are hurt because they stay quiet long after something feels wrong. They keep smiling, keep understanding, keep making excuses, and call it peace. But silence does not always protect love. Sometimes it protects disrespect. And the longer a good person hides their pain, the more that pain stops feeling like injury and starts feeling like identity over time. You have seen this person before. Maybe you are this person. You do not like conflict. You do not want to seem dramatic. You tell yourself it is better to stay calm, let it go, and keep peace. But while everyone sees your patience, almost nobody sees the cost. You look composed on the outside while something inside you keeps getting quieter, smaller, and more tired with every passing day. Many good people learned very early that being loved meant being easy to live with. Do not talk back. Do not make things harder. Do not be too emotional. Be understanding. Be mature. Be the bigger person. At first, those lessons sound harmless, even wise. But over time, they train someone to disconnect from their own hurt. Instead of asking, "What do I feel?" they start asking, "What will keep everyone comfortable?" That is where the trouble begins. Because a person who always measures their worth by how little space they take up will slowly become invisible to themselves. They apologize before they explain. They shrink before they speak. They ignore disappointment just to avoid tension. Eventually, they stop seeing silence as a choice and start seeing it as their role, the calm one, the reasonable one, the one who understands. But when goodness becomes an identity built on self-erasure, pain gets a perfect place to hide. Nobody questions it because it looks like virtue from the outside. Even the person living it may call it kindness when it is really fear of losing connection. They become skilled at reading rooms, softening truths, and making themselves smaller before anyone asks. That skill may win approval, but it quietly teaches them that love must be earned by comfort, never by honesty. Soon, they cannot tell compassion from suppression. They think they are protecting relationships, but they are really teaching people to know only the softened version of them, never the person. That is why silence can feel noble while doing so much damage underneath. A good person often believes that staying quiet proves maturity. They think reacting means overreacting. They think speaking up means creating drama. They think naming hurt will make them look needy, weak, or difficult. So they swallow the moment, then they swallow the next one, and the next. What they call self-control is often unspoken fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of becoming inconvenient. This is what makes the pattern dangerous. It does not feel destructive at first. It feels moral. It feels disciplined. It feels graceful. But not every silence is wisdom. Some silence is just pain trying to stay lovable. A mature person is not someone who never says anything. A mature person knows when honesty is kinder than pretending. Because silence may stop an argument today, but it can also teach people that your boundaries are optional. Once that lesson is learned, they keep crossing lines you never named, while you keep wondering why your kindness feels heavier every month. The tragedy is that your calm appearance gets praised, so the pattern feels rewarded. You look composed, thoughtful, and patient, while inside you are slowly training yourself to disappear whenever truth becomes uncomfortable. They tell themselves this is not worth mentioning, while resentment quietly collects interest. Eventually, they are no longer avoiding conflict. They are avoiding the truth of their own emotional reality, and that avoidance becomes a prison with polite walls. One reason this pain lasts so long is because silent suffering looks calm from the outside. Good people often keep functioning while they are breaking inside. They still reply politely. They still show up. They still help. They still listen. So everyone assumes they are fine. No one sees the conversations they replay alone at night. No one hears the sentences they wanted to say but buried. No one feels the weight of smiling while feeling unseen. This is the tragedy of quiet pain. It becomes easy to ignore, even by the person carrying it. They start minimizing what hurts them because nothing dramatic happened. There was no big explosion, no public betrayal, no obvious scene, just small disappointments, repeated compromises, and moments where they abandoned what they really felt. But emotional exhaustion rarely arrives all at once. It builds silently. A person can look patient while becoming numb. They can look loving while becoming distant. They can look stable while losing trust in people. By the time others notice something is wrong, the hurt is already deep. It is no longer just about one event. It is about how long someone has lived without being emotionally heard. especially by themselves. And because the damage was quiet, they often doubt whether it even counts, which keeps them trapped even longer inside the same polite suffering. They become experts at surviving discomfort without witnessing it. They keep moving, giving, smiling, and calling it normal, until their inner world feels quietly abandoned. And this is where the pain becomes deeper than mistreatment. It becomes self-betrayal. Being hurt by others is painful, but continuing to silence your truth after you know something is wrong creates another wound. Every time you say, "it is fine," when it is not, you teach yourself that your feelings are negotiable. Every time you stay where respect is missing, you tell your nervous system that endurance matters more than honesty. Every time you wait for others to magically understand what you never clearly expressed, you abandon yourself a little more. That is why good people often feel strangely ashamed of their pain. Somewhere deep down, they know the hurt is no longer only about what others did. It is also about what they kept allowing. This is not blame, it is clarity. Because clarity is what opens the door to change. The deepest healing begins when a person stops calling self-abandonment kindness. You do not become cruel when you speak clearly. You do not become selfish when you stop over-explaining. You do not become bad when you refuse to suffer quietly. You simply stop participating in your own disappearance and finally return to yourself with honesty. From that moment, kindness no longer means leaving yourself behind just to keep everyone else comfortable around your silence. That return changes everything. Boundaries stop feeling rude. Honesty stops feeling dangerous. Love stops meaning tolerance. They finally understand that peace without truth is not peace at all, only suffering with better manners. If this message hits something real in you, do not just watch it and move on. Ask yourself one honest question. Where in your life have you been calling silence maturity when it is really self-abandonment? Maybe it is in a relationship. Maybe it is in your family. Maybe it is in the way you keep saying yes when your whole body wants to say no. Start there. Not with anger, not with guilt, just with honesty. And if this video spoke to something you've been carrying quietly, leave a comment with one word: enough. Let that be your reminder that being a good person does not mean disappearing. It means telling the truth before your silence becomes your identity. And if you want more videos like this, subscribe and stay with me. Good people do not need to become colder. They need to become more honest. Your silence is not always strength. Sometimes it is the place where pain survives the longest. You can be kind and still speak. You can be loving and still have limits. You can care deeply without disappearing in the process. Healing begins when you stop calling quiet suffering maturity and start treating your own truth as something worth protecting. The moment you do that, your goodness stops being a wound and starts becoming a form of self-respect that others can finally see and feel clearly too.